Hello, this is Ridhima Shirodkar from Government College of Arts, Science and Commerce, Khandola. Today we'll be dealing with understanding psychological disorders. The module name is Historical Views, Views of Abnormality During Prehistoric Times. The outline would be Demonology, Gods and Magic, Hippocrates' Early Medical Concepts, and Early Philosophical Conceptions of Consciousness. After the end of this particular module, you should be able to explain how abnormal behavior was viewed in ancient times, discuss Hippocrates' views about mental illness, compare the viewpoints of Greek and Roman physicians and philosophers regarding mental illness. So we have to understand from the beginning that the entire concept of behavior, which was considered to be not normal or abnormal, was explained in sarcastic ways, in humorous ways, as well as tragic ways. So if we start from the very beginning, we have to see how the Chinese, Egyptians, Hebrews and Greeks viewed abnormal behavior. So according to these people, when an individual behaved in a different manner or in a manner which was not considered to be normal, the person was possessed by some sort of spirits. The spirits were either good spirits or the evil spirits. How do you know whether the spirit is good or not good? If the particular person basically spoke about some religious items or behaved in mystical ways, then they consider that particular person to be possessed by a good spirit or a godly spirit. So they kind of respected this person and worshipped the person. But if the person started behaving in a very aggressive manner or in a manner that was very deteriorating, the person was said to be possessed by an evil spirit. So they attributed abnormal behavior to either a demon or a god, and they said that this particular spirit had possessed the individual. In order to get the individual and rid the individual of the spirit, many times exorcisms were used. These were religious inspired treatments which were designed to drive out this particular spirit, and they included magic, prayer, incantation, holy water, noise making, beating up the person, starving the person, bleeding, purging, etc. So we see that how individuals having the so-called abnormal behavior were actually treated, and this was quite painful at times. Another very painful technique which was used was that of trephinition, where a kind of a hole was drilled into the skull of the people. Why? In order to remove the spirit out of their brains. Again, please understand that this is a time when there were no anesthesias and things like that, and the person eventually died. Let's move on to Hippocrates. Hippocrates was known to be the father of modern medicine. He was a Greek physician, and he at that point of time basically spoke of things which were quite revolutionary. He was the first one who said that mental disorders may have been caused due to brain pathology. It was not because of some evil spirits as such. He said that injuries to the head could cause sensory and motor disorders, and he also spoke about the influence of heredity and predisposition. Again, this was extremely important at that point of time when no such scientific claims were made. He also considered dreams to be exceptionally important, and this can be drawn in parallel to Freud's psychoanalysis, which we still continue today. And he classified mental disorders in 3 categories: mania, melancholia, and phrenitis. Now he said that basically the main elements which are there in this world are earth, air, water, and fire. So he said that when we have these components within us, they kind of have, we have elements in our body where there is blood, black bile, yellow bile and phlegm, and we have to have these elements in the exact proportion. When these elements are out of proportion, individuals have issues. So if yellow bile becomes too much, according to Hippocrates, the individual tends to feel very melancholic and sad and depressed. He proposed treatments which were very far away from exorcism, and he proposed treatments such as having a calm and tranquil life, sobriety, a vegetarian diet, celibacy, and bleeding if indicated. However, we need to understand that Hippocrates was living in a time when modern medicine was not so advanced, so he had very little knowledge about physiology. He believed that hysteria is a condition where you have some symptom, but there is no cause for it. So my hand is hurting, but I don't know, but there is no actual cause for the hand to pain. My x-rays and all are clear. So he believed that hysteria was mainly a disorder only afflicted to women, where they had a wandering uterus. That means the uterus was pining for a baby and the uterus was wandering in the body. Because of which he said that the woman has to get married, have a child, etc. So he too was tainted by influences like this. Moving on to early philosophical conceptions of consciousness, let's look at the Greek philosopher Plato. He studied individuals who are mentally disturbed and committed criminal activities. He said that these people were disturbed and they were not criminals as such. They were not well, according to him. Again, a very revolutionary idea at that point of time. And he also spoke about community care for the mentally disturbed. So bring them in a community, don't isolate them. In his book, The Republic, Plato emphasized the importance of individual differences in intellectual and other abilities. He also emphasized socio-cultural influences. So here he is talking about society, how the culture influences thinking and behavior. His ideas regarding treatment included a provision for hospital care and conversations comparable to what we have today of psychotherapy. See, there is no exorcism over here, but he's saying that people should talk, people should meet others, there should be conversation. So this is what he is emphasizing on. Again, Plato was of a very old time where he felt that mental disorders were partly divinely caused. Coming back to Aristotle. Aristotle basically wrote extensively on mental disorders. Among his most lasting contributions to psychology are his descriptions of consciousness. Understand, we are talking about a time where science is very far away, not so advanced as where we are today. So talking about consciousness and all is a very, very big step at that point of time. So moving back to Plato, he's talking about hospital care, he's talking about individual differences, the influences of society. These things are not very easy, though it seems to be very simple for us today. So moving to Aristotle, he's speaking about consciousness. He held the view that thinking as directed would eliminate pain and help to attain pleasure. So this is the principle of hedonism, which says that all human beings basically want pleasure and they want to avoid pain. So he's saying that with the process of just thought, the power of thought is so great that an individual can get rid of pain and get pleasure. Aristotle also believed in Hippocrates' theory, where the humors were there. The humors were nothing but the fluids which I explained to you all about: blood, phlegm, yellow bile and black bile. So Aristotle believed that hot bile, it caused verbal fluency and suicidal impulses. So they are again saying that when a particular humor or a particular fluid is out of proportion in your body, what happens is that the individual starts behaving in a very different manner. So according to them, the fluids have to be in a very proportionate order. So through this module, the aim, if we just go back and revise a little bit, we've tried to see how mental disorders and the so-called abnormal behavior is being understood, how people were beaten up, holes were drilled into their skulls. Why? In order to remove out the so-called spirits. Yet we had some very revolutionary thinkers like Hippocrates, who spoke about the humoral theory, where we talk about blood, black bile, yellow bile and phlegm. Then we have Plato, who speaks about community care, who speaks about conversations. And we have Aristotle, who speaks about consciousness, who speaks about thought. So I hope you all have gained a little bit from this module, and you all have been able to understand the outcomes well. Thank you.